Look, let me just be blunt for a moment. Do you really care about these new releases from Nars and Pat McGrath Labs? Well, you will find out today as we look at these with me, Rebecca. I am a 20-year plus veteran of fashion and beauty journalism, and I have worked with some of the biggest names in the industry. I created Not Fit for Print Beauty a few years ago as a sort of digital beauty magazine that you can kind of figuratively flip through every day or so here on YouTube. I am so happy to have you here. Okay, we're going to look at both of these in depth. Got swatches in two different lights, ingredients, and demos. Let's start with our Nars palettes. Nars is very famous for their limited edition eyeshadow and face palettes, and also their little eye quads, which these are actually not limited edition, but they play with some of those limited edition famous Nars shades. There have been two of them released brand new for $52 each, and that is Koh Rong and Saint Paul de Vence, names you would know from Nars. And the way that Francois Nars does these is he labels the shades creatively: Saint Paul de Vence 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Koh Rong 1, 2, 3, and 4. Not so hard. Let's take a look quickly at the ingredients. If you are an ingredient geek, make sure to geek on by looking at those ingredients. Go ahead and freeze them on the screen if you need to see them any better. And as always, the price, the amount, where things are made are always down below when I introduce the product. I just don't say it all because, my goodness, it's already a lot of talking that you have to endure. So like I said, these are $52 each. We're going to look at some swatches here and figure out if we're interested in them. So Koh Rong, which is, by the way, an island off of Cambodia that I have never been to. If you have been, could you tell us how it is down below? I bet it's beautiful. These are a bunch of rich, neutral, all mattes. Now, an all matte palette is extremely important, especially if you need a good transition shade. And there's nothing more sophisticated than an all matte look. I just don't happen to love it personally. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. But we are used to all matte palettes, especially from makeup artist-centered brands like Nars. But we have one, of course, from Makeup by Mario recently, and Patrick Ta. Charlotte Tilbury has one. Even Pat McGrath has one, and of course Viseart and Elson. This is a little bit of a more powdery, not in a bad way. And in fact, Nars on their website will talk about the fact that their shadows are very finely milled and will kick up a little bit of powder, but it's not because of any filler. They're just really finely milled. So this is a little bit more powdery and layerable, kind of like Viseart or Elson, a little less creamy than something like Mario or Patrick Ta. But if you would like, I am super happy to swatch compare any of these over on Instagram for you. That's where I do my swatch comparisons. So if it's going to help you with your purchases, go ahead and let me know down below here or over on Instagram. I can compare it to any other matte palette. Basically, they're all browns and tans. But if you need that, I'm here for you. And we are going to swatch it in two different lights. Also for $52, and also new, although sometimes we've seen these shades in and out of various palettes, is the Nars Saint Paul de Vence 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are known for their peachy shades, the Saint Paul de Vence, and we have a pretty little sparkly shade here too. I think all eyeshadow looks need a little bit of sparkle, but not everyone agrees with me. These are champagne shimmers and mattes, and again, you saw kind of the basic ingredients from Nars if you have any sort of allergies or anything like that. They're very, very pretty, but they're a little boring. That's why I asked at the beginning, do you care about these? And maybe you can answer that already. I'd love to hear what you think, and you can answer kind of before and then after the video too. I mean, when you immediately see them, I'd love to know, in fact, if you could take a moment, now that you just kind of see, when you immediately see it, are you like, no? And then I'd like to know if your opinion changes at the end of the video, so we'll talk about that. Originally, when you see this introduced, are you like, yes, or God, no, I didn't even know that was here, you know? These are pretty peachy shades, and I'm wearing it now, but you'll see that in the demo. Plus, we will swatch it in 2 different lightings in just a moment. But the other thing that's been released, and not everybody knew about this, it was real quick, is the Pat McGrath Labs Dramatique Mega Lip Pencil. This has, as Pat McGrath says, the performance of a lipstick, definitely, but the convenience of a pencil. And you're going to say, I didn't realize a pencil was that much more convenient than a lipstick bullet. Yeah, well, it's marketing. It is kind of convenient, though. I am wearing the shade. Let me hold it up here. I'm actually wearing the shade Nude Venus. We're going to swatch the 3 I got. I got Divine Rose, Elson 6, and Nude Venus. Don't worry, you will see it. Are these transfer proof? I had a question. So we have, I don't know if you know this, but down below in the description bar, I have a link to 2 special things that I'd love for you to know about. Number 1, we have a free group over on Facebook that's got like over 120 members already, and we very recently introduced it. So we're having a lot of fun over there. That is a community-based group. It's Helen is doing an amazing job. Thank Helen over there. She's doing an amazing job running that for us. But I do pop in and out of that for communities to chat with. And when I said I was going to do this, when I popped in to say I was going to do this video, a lot of people asked me to talk about the durability of it. Is it transfer proof? No, it's essentially a lipstick. Do you know what this reminds me of? I'll tell you in a minute. Down below also, don't forget, we have for under $5 a month, we also have a membership here on YouTube, and that one I run, and we do lives and stuff together weekly. We'd love to see you there. But this is not transfer proof. It's a lipstick. It reminds me of her actual regular skinny lip liners. If you've tried those before, Pat McGrath's average ordinary lip liner is very lipsticky, for lack of a better word. And when I tend to use her lip liners, I end up filling in the whole lip because they're really creamy. A lot of people like a little bit more wax in their liner, so it kind of holds any sort of lipstick in from bleeding. I don't think I like Pat McGrath lip liners, but I feel they are really creamy. These are kind of just a bigger version of that. Little more, last a little bit longer than her lipsticks, but not much. They're not transfer proof. They don't purport to be. They're just kind of a creamy lip liner. You can go ahead and just line with them because they do have a nice tip. Or if you're me, they're so creamy, I get carried away and I put them all over the lip. They will sharpen, you need a chunky pencil sharpener, but that's how you would sharpen them. These are, let's see, they're $29 each, but you can get like, I recommend getting a little bundle. You can get, I think it's 2 for $59. I clearly bought 3 for $78. You can get 4 for $102 and so on. You know, they do little bundles over there and they are really nice and transfer really well. You just got to have that little chunky sharpener, but any sharpener will do, even just an Amazon sharpener. You don't have to go all out or anything like that. So this is the shade Nude Venus that I'm wearing. I'll put on a little more. It's really creamy and nice, really comfy. It's not waxy like a liner. It's essentially just a lipstick in pencil form. And I got 3 of them. They're very, very pretty. Let's look at ingredients. For those of you who need to know about that, just freeze the screen and take a look. And don't forget that price and quantity and where it's made is always going to be on the screen when I introduce the product. Not everybody knew that, so I thought I would tell you. Okay, let's go to some swatches before we demo these, okay? First, in studio lighting, check this out. We have the Nars Koh Rong on the left and the Nars St. Paul de Vence with its little sparkle shade to the right. And then beneath that, I have our Pat McGrath Labs Dramatique Mega Lip Pencil in Divine Rose, Elson 6 in the middle, and Nude Venus on the end there. That's in studio lighting. These are really all shades we know. I mean, to me, this made sense to put these together in one video because Nars tends to play around with familiar names of shades, and so does Pat McGrath. So we certainly know the Elson name and Divine Rose and Nude Venus. Are they the same as the lipsticks? Very similar. A little bit less, a little bit more indelible, a little bit more matte, and a little bit less transfery, but they'll still transfer. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, that will still transfer, but maybe not as much as the lipstick. So maybe a nice medium between something that could be liquid lip and be a little bit more drying, no matter how much it says it isn't, and something that's very creamy and going to come off. Maybe they're a nice middle ground. All right, let's take a look at these same swatches outside in the warm California sunshine. There's Nars Koh Rong and St. Paul de Vence. And underneath them, we have the Pat McGrath Labs Dramatique Mega Lip Pencil. Why can't I say that? Divine Rose, Elson 6, and Nude Venus. I know why I can't say that. It's not really a word. All right, so check that info down below for our memberships that you can join. And don't forget to subscribe, as that is truly the best gift that you can give to me. Let's go try all this stuff on. And then we need to know at the very end, have you changed your mind? And do you care after all? Well, we're going to see. Let's try Koh Rong first. And I'm going to put it on both eyes. It will not get the benefit of mascara and eyeliner, as that does tend to rip apart my eyes when I do that too much in one day, so bear with me. First of all, on the lips, I already have the Pat McGrath Labs Dramatique Mega Lip Pencil. This one is in Divine Rose. So let's try out a little bit more of it so you can see how it goes on, okay? I do like how long they last, and I do use them as kind of a lipstick. I could line with them, but I really tend to fill in the whole lip. And you kind of want to, because they're so smooth, which I have actually found, I think I kind of mentioned before, with her lip pencils, the regular thin lip pencils as well. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the Koh Rong first, okay? And I'm going to be working with rougher brushes today. This is a rougher brush number 16. We'll do the same look on each eye, but this will at least let you just kind of really, I just think you see the palette a little bit better. Remember, these are when they're on both eyes. I interrupt myself, listen to me. Now, remember, these are labeled with just the name of the palette, Koh Rong 1, 2, 3, and 4. For such a creative entity, Nars is kind of funny that way when they do that. What shade is that? I must have it. It's Koh Rong 3. Okay, so there's our first two shades. Same brush. This is all done with the number 16. Now, interestingly enough, I actually like this as an all matte palette, and I am not an all matte palette person. Okay, let's switch to a number 1 brush again. Is this a regular number 1? Yeah, it is. Number 1 from, I'm not a huge fan of, there's all but one of the shades. I'm not a huge fan of an all matte palette, and I have been known, even if it's all matte, to sneak in a little bit of sparkle, which nothing wrong with that. But that all matte look, I don't generally reach for unless I need a transition shade. But you know, when I'm on my own, just me, no camera, I don't usually do full eye looks. Just not what I do. So I'm not always needing a transition shade in everyday life. And so I don't tend to wear these all matte. But I do know them and I do work with them. Here's our darkest shade. And I'm just going to put that over there in the corner. See, to me, this needs a little bit of sparkle on the rest of the eye. But, you know, it's fine. I'm just going to blend this a little bit. It needs a little bit of sparkle. And that absolutely needs some mascara and some liner. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but I'm not intrigued by an all matte look. That being said, like I said, I do play with them all and I know them all. This is one of my favorite formulas for an all matte. Easy to use, very pretty, and also super duper handy if you do favor a more complicated or more lengthy eye look and you need to travel and you need some transition shades. This would go with you quickly and easily. So I think it would be a really nice almost transition palette if you are traveling or just need it really quickly to grab it at home. All 4 shades are so easy to use, special, and just apply beautifully. They're a little bit powdery and thin, more reminiscent of, say, a Viseart type of formula, really than anything else, to be honest with you, and a little bit of like an Esam formula, and a little bit less creamy than the Makeup by Mario or the Patrick Ta, which are both a little bit creamier than this one, if you want to think of a formula difference. And of course, if you need these compared to any of those, just let me know. They're all kind of browns. I didn't do it here. I'm afraid everyone would fall asleep. But to be honest with you, I use Instagram for that. So if you want to look at this, if you're interested in purchasing this and it will help you at all, just let me know what you need it compared to. Patrick Ta or Mario, Viseart, Isa, whatever you need. Tell me here, or either send me a DM or in comments over on Instagram, and I'll be really happy to do that for you. All right, I want to change up the look on my lips so we can look at another one of these Pat McGrath shades. And I also want to get to St. Paul de Vence right here, which has a little bit of sparkle. Makes me a little bit happier, so stay right there. Okay, to start with the lip shade for this section, if you are familiar with Pat McGrath reds, then you are quite likely familiar with the shade Elson. It's kind of signature of the brand. This is Elson 6 right here. I don't have all of the Elsons in bullet form, so I wouldn't have this to compare with, but it is very true to Elson. And I can't imagine wearing this only as a liner. It just feels like it wouldn't solve any liner problems. Like, to me, this is just a really convenient crayon for the whole lip. Let me just put on a little more. Is this a fussy red like the bullet reds would be? Yes, I definitely had to take a little bit of a lip brush. Well, actually, you guys, if you know me, I use kind of a stiffer eyeshadow brush, short eyeshadow brush as a lip brush. I like that a little better. I should have tried Wayne Goss's new lip brush. I bet that would work too. But I did. I had to work it into any little lip lines. And, it's a fussy red. Whether it's a crayon or not, it's a fussy red. But her Elson reds are just stunning. So this is no exception. I really do like it. Okay, let's go ahead and get into our St. Paul de Vence palette. We'll do the same look on both eyes. I do have mascara on this time. First, which is out of order, I know, but we're saving time. And the St. Paul de Vence is known for those peachy shades, of which there's only one. But of course, as I told you with the other palette, they are named shade 1, 2, 3, and 4, all of the same name. Does make it easier. I really don't need to put them on screen. Have all 4 of these shades been done elsewhere? I don't really know. Certainly St. Paul de Vence has, and certainly Koh Rong has, but I just don't know, Okay, this is a 15 max if you are playing along at home. Let's go into that peachy shade that St. Paul de Vence is known for and just put it over the entire mobile lid. I don't think peach and this red go together that well, but they're both a little bit warm, so hopefully that works. And same brush, maybe a bit too big for it, but let's just go ahead and try it with this darker cocoa shade here on the outer portion of the eye. Yeah, a little bit too big. Switching then to a rougher number 2 to take that same shade underneath. And then my favorite part, because that's what I look forward to. I want to just get that in there. I'm going to take my finger into this really, really pretty topper shade. We are going to talk about some of my thoughts on this. And see, to me, that I would end up taking this with the first all matte palette and adding a little bit of sparkle. I just think it needs a little bit of the sparkle. Okay, let's talk about my thoughts here. On the Pat McGrath, they last a really nice long time. Quite a few hours, and they are matte and they don't budge, but they are not transfer proof. If I were to go like this right now, it would smear across my face. These are basically a lipstick in a soft crayon form, but I think they're really nice and long lasting, a little more long lasting than a bullet lipstick would be, but please, these are not any sort of a liquid or a transfer proof, nor do they say that they are. They are very pretty, super easy to use. The darker shades, however, do need a little bit of work, just like a darker shade of lipstick would. We're not dealing with some sort of a balm, which we're all kind of getting used to. And my feeling on these balms is it's kind of like you guys know that I did a lot of fashion editing, and I worked a lot with the denim industry, especially because I'm in Los Angeles. And it's just the minute we saw Lycra introduced into denim and everyone started wearing pull-on jeans, there was like no going back. Once people get comfortable, they don't want to be uncomfortable anymore. Once people wear sneakers, they don't often opt for heels. Once people have Lycra in their denim, they don't want that rigid denim anymore. And I'm finding that these lipsticks, they're beautiful, but they almost become editorial because we really get addicted to the ease and comfort of like what Lisa Eldridge just released, me included, guilty as charged, okay? I am not above that. I actually embody it, very much so. Okay, let's talk about, so those are beautiful, but I just want you to know what you're getting. And I definitely recommend if you're going to go with the Pat McGrath, get one of the bundles and save a little bit of money. Everything will be linked below. Now let's talk about the Nars Quads. They're boring. I do like the Koh Rong All Matte for travel if you need a transition. It's kind of a really handy transition. And certainly this St. Paul de Vence is really pretty. And if you're brand loyal, you'll like it. And if you're completionist / hoarder like me, you'll like it. But do you need to rush out like, wow, Nars has something new? No, I do not find it very exciting. I don't know if I find either of these very exciting. The lip pencils from Pat McGrath are certainly handy. And I guess we could say that about the Nars Quads. They're certainly handy, but should you care? I asked at the beginning, do you care? No. I think the answer is not really. But if you disagree with me, I love to have the discussion down below. So let me know your thoughts if you disagree with me. I'm here for that. In fact, that's what makes us a community. Were these on your radar? Had you purchased any of these? Had you heard about them? I think at time of filming, the Nars is still a little bit on pre-sale, but you'll get there. And is it something you're interested in? Of these two, I think the lipsticks or the lip crayons are a little bit more exciting. But sound off below. I always like to know what you guys need and what comparisons do you need over on Instagram. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video.